Hi everyone, I'm Jen Walker-Wall of WorkWondersCoaching.com, and I'm here today with some suggestions on how to identify transferable skills. This is probably the most common question that I get, especially from job-seeking clients. People feel really worried about making a transition, and after years and months of working in a particular field, it's very easy to feel like all of our skills are very specific to the context that we're working in. So these suggestions are going to provide some ways for you to figure out transferable skills in a DIY sort of way. So the first suggestion I have is to take a good look at your job history. You have probably made career transitions before, and this is a result of you learning and growing and being capable of doing more and having more experience. So you've probably made these kinds of transitions in the scope of your career, and it's sometimes helpful to take a look back and realize that I've kind of already done this. Now you might want to do it on a more significant scale at this point, and that's fine, but it's good to remember that it's probably already been done, right? Like, I'm no longer babysitting. I'm no longer working a work-study job in college. Like we've already made some transitions, and I'm sure you have some examples of that in your own life. Transitions are normal, and they're part of what happens in a career, so you can feel confident that other people have done this, and you've probably done it too. Something that can be helpful if you're not feeling confident is to take a good look at some of the assessments that are out there for identifying strengths and skills and that sort of thing. I'll link to one below that I use when I work with clients one-on-one that you can take on your own if you like. And it's good to get some outside perspective on what you're good at. You might have pigeonholed yourself in a way that isn't necessary. You might have a strength that will be brought to your attention through one of these tools that can help you rethink how you want to communicate your abilities to new potential employers in a different field. Something that's really important and that I spend a lot of time working with people on is to de-niche themselves. So what I mean when I say that is all this expertise that you have is awesome and transferable, but some of that language can be really tricky for people in different fields to understand. So if you're using language that's very specific to your field, think of ways to scale back on that and use more general language that other people will understand. So sometimes, you might be working with clients in a corporate capacity, but you might want to move into a position where you're not working with people who would use that kind of terminology, where there aren't necessarily clients. So you'd want to figure out who those people are that the other people are serving and sort of the language around how to refer to them. There are some good ways to do this. So if we think about just like skills in a very, very, very general sense, right? So take a good look at the whole of your work history and what are you good at? So you might be really good at using a particular statistical analysis program, okay? And if you are like, I'm really sick of this and I want to move on to something else, then you could just really frame that as having really strong analytical skills. And there's many, many, many contexts where that's useful versus like your ability and skill and expertise in this one level of software. So that's just one example of how you can sort of pull back. Another good thing you can do, and I really recommend this for people who are leaving one field and going to another, is to get some feedback from people about how industry specific or niche specific your resume sounds. So you don't need to work with a career coach to do this, and you don't even need to know someone who works in the field. Ask someone who simply doesn't work in your field if your resume makes sense, and then you at least have an outside perspective on whether or not your skills sound more general. And the other thing is, as you're sort of, revising some of the language in your resume, always do a gut check to make sure that it sounds and feels authentic, right? So even though I'm asking you to make some changes, like you should always be honest and you should always really say what feels right. So you might need to do some rough drafts. You might need to take some time to really think about like, how can I describe this experience in a more general way? But at the end of the day, we want it to feel really good so that you're communicating that well when it comes to resumes, cover letters, networking, and those sorts of things. So those are my suggestions for how to identify transferable skills. If you have any questions, you can find me on Twitter or you can comment below. All right, thanks so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.